Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and thanks a lot for checking out today's video. Much appreciated. And guys, you need to take a close look at that thumbnail I put here. That was a Facebook post from one of my subscribers that sent me this morning. Obviously, it disgusted me to the point I wanted to do a video on it about some dude went out live scoping, caught a limit of bass. It looked like a big limit of bass. Put the knife to him out there. And the point of today's video, guys, is I want to address a little bit. We've talked a little bit or a lot about this whole live scope issue, about the sustainability of our fisheries. And I think there's a myth out there amongst anglers that live scopers, forward-facing sonar users do not keep and eat bass. Guys, that is the biggest freaking lie and myth in the world. I sort of want to get into that a little bit in today's video. Now, here's what you got to realize as far as on a microcosm and a macrocosm level. I've been down, I talked about this before, on 3 different trips that I was at Table Rock Lake this year. When I came into the boat dock in the afternoons, on this 2 of them on the same dock and 1 of them on a different dock on Table Rock, there was a guy, not the same guy, different guys every time, filleting out a limit of bass. But most of them, 90% of them were Kentuckys, the rest of them were largemouth. And anytime that I see somebody flaying out bass, I always go up and talk to them. I want to know why they're flaying out bass. Not, I know it's legal for them to do so, but I'm trying to understand the mentality of people that don't practice catch and release on largemouth bass, since they're such a sporting fish to catch. And every one of these guys out there told me that, they caught them live scoping. And ever since they got live scope, they can get their limit almost any time they go out there, every single day. And if they are 15-inch keepers, they don't care if they're 15 inches or 15 pounds, they're going to flay them out when they catch these bass live scoping. On top of that, I've talked a little bit about this before. When I go up to Stockton Lake up there, which is a big crappie lake, the parking lot's full of crappie anglers, and every crappie angler has a live scope on the front of their boat on a raised pedestal. It's like 3 feet tall. I've had the same conversation. They go out and it's the same story. They say, man, I struggled to ever catch a limit of crappie up here in the past, but ever since live scope, I can go out and get my limit in 15 or 20 minutes every single day I'm out here. And those get flayed out. I get messages from all over the world, Australia, Europe, everywhere, about people talking about how live scope is decimating the fisheries. And this is what I'm talking about. You see the thumbnail in this video about those dudes that flayed out a big limit of bass live scoping, and the story I just told you about Table Rock. Now just imagine, that's just what I've experienced on a microcosm. Now you multiply that times every lake in the country, and then you multiply that by the fact that every single day, more and more people are acquiring and getting live scope. They're getting better at live scope. And eventually what's going to happen is the people out there that are meat eaters, meat hunters, which there's a ton of them out there, they are serious about, filling their freezer with fish fillets, and they're all going to have live scope eventually. And then after everybody has live scope and all the meat hunters have live scope, and then all the tournament anglers get live scope, and you've got delayed mortality from the bass that are caught from live scope due to bear trauma issues, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that we are going to decimate our fisheries with forward-facing sonar. Now, a lot of people will say, okay, Randy, that's not going to happen because the conservation departments are going to intervene if they see the population is dwindling. Guys, don't put your hope in the conservation departments. I'm not saying I think a lot of them had good intentions, but it's been my experience dealing with conservation agencies across the country that they wait way too long. They've got to study and research it to death, and by the time they do that, it's already too late. And for the most part, most conservation departments, they don't see fish like a largemouth bass as some type of a protected sporting fish. They see it as just another piece of meat out there for people to take home if they want. They have a different perception on that. So don't look to the conservation departments to do the right thing here. One of the things about this that I really don't understand is I have a hard time understanding why people can't put two and two together and look at this from a logical, reasonable, common sense point of view and see what's happening is not sustainable. It's like when you when the skill levels of the anglers are increasing every day along with the technology, we have lakes that have a finite amount of bass in them. These bass are not like unlimited out there, and it doesn't take very much. It doesn't take many of those meat hunters like in the picture of this video to decimate a fishery. I mean, look at just look at that picture there. Look at the size of those fish in there and imagine how many bass eggs are going to be gone because of that. And another thing about that is when you analyze the quality of a fishery, you can't look at a tournament result as like say this is the great fishery and look at the top tournament results. You have to look at the bottom third of the weights there. It's like when I gauge a fishery and by the tournament results, I could care less what the top 50 catch. I want to know what the bottom 25 caught in that tournament, because that gives you an accurate depiction of what the average bass angler is going to go up against. So if you figure that more and more people are live scoping, more and more people are putting a knife to the bass out there, look how hard it's going to be for just the average angler that doesn't live scope and just goes out and bass fishes to catch fish with the dwindling populations that are going to come with this. And I just think there's a huge myth out there. There's several myths regarding this. Number one is people, like I said, people don't think that live scopers are keeping bass. That's a lie. That's a myth. Number two is people think, well, there's plenty of bass in the lake and you're not going to fish them out. And, there's going to be limits instilled. That's not happening there too. We are on the path and we are on the road to destroying our fisheries out there. So all you guys out there that think I'm full of crap for, standing up and talking about live scope, I mean, just picture a world 10 years from now where you go out there even with live scope and you struggle to get one bite every day. Is that the reality you want? Is that the world that you want of fishing? So if there wasn't another reason to really move forward with this ban against live scope, here's just another one for you. And like I said, I don't look for MLF or Bassmaster or the conservation departments to do the right thing. As long as you've got special interests and money behind it, don't look for people to do the right thing. This pressure has got to come from within the anglers themselves that can actually see, the situation that's in front of us here. But anyway, I just wanted to pass along that thumbnail. I found it revolting that somebody out there, I'm not pointing out that one person because it's rampant all over the country, that somebody is basically using technology to make it easier to kill bass out there, that's basically what it is. So anyway, just shoot me your thoughts on it, guys. Be curious to know, and we'll talk later.